Welcome to Before AGI, the podcast that makes AI easy to understand. We're doing a deep dive today into a field where AI is already making a big splash. Disaster management, we're talking predicting earthquakes, floods, even cyclones, sometimes before they happen.
Yeah, it's kind of like having a crystal ball. But instead of magic, it's powered by data and algorithms.
Exactly. We've got a mountain of research and real-world examples to dig into, so get ready. What blows my mind is how AI is being used to build these early warning systems. I mean, think about getting a heads up about a flood, hours or even seconds before it hits. That's life-saving stuff.
Absolutely. And what's fascinating is how these systems use such a variety of data. We're talking satellite imagery, weather forecasts, readings from seismic monitors, you name it, even historical data on past disasters. All of that gets crunched together by AI to give us a clearer picture of what's coming.
Okay, so let's break it down. You mentioned satellite imagery. How does that help predict something like a flood?
Well, satellites can track changes in river levels and water flow, and AI can analyze that data to spot patterns that indicate a flood is likely. One great example is Google's AI-powered flood prediction system. It takes in tons of data, including weather forecasts and real-time river levels, to give communities time to prepare and evacuate.
That's wild. It's like having a watchful eye in the sky, constantly scanning for danger.
It is. And the beauty of AI is that it can process this huge amount of data so much faster than humans ever could. It can pick up on subtle changes that we might miss.
So it's not just about speed, but also about finding those hidden clues.
Exactly. Another amazing example is Japan's earthquake early warning system. It analyzes seismic data and can actually issue warnings seconds before the ground starts shaking, giving people a chance to take cover.
Wow. Talk about giving people precious time to react.
Right. And it's not just about earthquakes and floods. AI is being used to predict all sorts of disasters, hurricanes and tornadoes, even cyclones.
So AI is basically giving us a window into the future of disasters, allowing us to take action before things get really bad.
That's the goal. And that early action can be the difference between life and death when it comes to saving lives and protecting property.
Right. So we've talked about how AI is being used to predict disasters, which is mind-blowing in itself. But what happens when disaster strikes? How does AI step in to help with the response?
Well, imagine a situation where a major earthquake hits. In the immediate aftermath, things are chaotic. There's a flood of information coming in from everywhere. Social media, news reports, emergency calls. AI can help by filtering through all that noise and extracting the most crucial information.
So it's like having a superpowered assistant that can instantly sift through mountains of data and pinpoint exactly what's happening and where help is needed most.
Exactly. For example, AI algorithms can analyze social media posts to identify areas where people are trapped or need immediate assistance.
That's incredible. So it can actually read through tweets and Facebook posts and understand what's going on.
That's right. AI can be trained to recognize keywords and phrases. That indicates someone needs help. It can even analyze images and videos to assess the situation on the ground. This information can then be relayed to emergency responders in real time, guiding the rescue efforts with incredible precision.
Wow. It's like having eyes and ears everywhere, even in the most remote and hard-hit areas.
And it's not just about finding people. AI can also integrate data from all sorts of sensors, weather stations, seismic monitors, even traffic cameras, to give a more complete picture of the disaster zone. This helps emergency teams coordinate their response and allocate resources more effectively.
So it's like having a bird's eye view of the entire situation,
Yeah,
even if the ground is in chaos.
it is. And this ability to process information in real time is what makes AI so valuable during disaster response.
Okay, so we've got AI predicting disasters before they happen, then sifting through data to guide the response in real time. But what about after the initial chaos subsides? How does AI help with the longer-term recovery process?
Wow. Once the dust settles, one of the first challenges is assessing the damage. And this is another area where AI can really shine.
I can imagine drones playing a role here.
You got it. Drones equipped with AI-powered cameras can be deployed to quickly survey large areas, capturing high-resolution images of the damage. But it goes beyond just taking pictures. AI can actually analyze those images in real time, identifying things like collapsed buildings, blocked roads, and areas that are flooded.
So it's like having a team of superpowered inspectors scanning the disaster zone and pinpointing exactly what needs to be fixed.
Exactly. And this information can then be used to create detailed damage maps, which are essential for guiding reconstruction efforts.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
But it's not just about rebuilding what was there before.
Right.
It's also about learning from the disaster and building back in a way that's more resilient to future events.
Absolutely. And AI can play a crucial role in that process too. For example, by analyzing data from past disasters, AI can help us identify areas that are particularly vulnerable to certain types of hazards, whether it's flooding, earthquakes, or wildfires.
So it's like using the past to inform the future, making sure we don't repeat the same mistake.
Exactly. And AI can also help us design and build new infrastructure that's more resilient to future disasters.
Like bridges that can withstand stronger earthquakes, or buildings that are better protected from floods.
That's right. And we can even use AI to develop early warning systems for infrastructure failures, giving us more time to prepare and evacuate, potentially preventing major disasters.
Wow, this is all incredibly impressive. It seems like AI is becoming an indispensable tool in every stage of disaster management.
It really is. And it's important to remember that AI is still evolving. As the technology continues to advance, we can expect even more innovative applications to emerge in the years to come.
Well, I, for one, am excited to see what the future holds. But for now, I think we need to take a break and let all of this incredible information sink in.
Sounds good to me. We'll be back in a bit to delve even deeper into the world of AI and disaster management. Welcome back. We've been talking about how AI is revolutionizing disaster management, from predicting events to aiding in the recovery process. But let's zoom in on one area where AI's impact is truly remarkable: communication.
Oh yeah, I'm curious about that. We've all seen the chaos that can erupt during disaster.
Yeah.
Getting accurate information to the right people at the right time can literally be a matter of life or death.
Exactly. And this is where AI is making a difference. Think about those first few hours after a major earthquake or hurricane. Communication lines might be down, people are panicking, and it's incredibly difficult to coordinate relief efforts.
So how does AI cut through all that noise?
One way is through AI-powered chatbots. Imagine being able to get instant answers to your questions about evacuation routes, shelter locations, or available resources.
It'd be like having a personalized emergency assistant right in your pocket.
Exactly. And these chatbots aren't just for the public. They can also be used by first responders to access critical information, like building blueprints, hazardous material locations, or even real-time updates on the situation.
So it's about streamlining communication on every level, from the individual trying to find safety to the teams coordinating the response.
Precisely. And because these chatbots can be deployed across multiple platforms, like websites, social media, and messaging apps, they can reach a much wider audience than traditional methods.
That's huge, especially when you consider that not everyone has access to the same technology or speaks the same language.
Right. And these AI-powered chatbots can be trained to understand and respond in multiple languages, making them even more effective in diverse communities.
That's really impressive. It sounds like a game changer for inclusivity and accessibility during emergencies.
It is. And another area where AI is making a big impact is in 911 call centers. Think about the volume of calls that come flooding in during a disaster. It can be overwhelming for even the most experienced operators.
I can only imagine. How does AI help in that situation?
Well, AI-powered systems can analyze incoming calls in real time, identifying keywords, and even assessing the caller's emotional state.
Wow. So it can tell if someone is in a state of panic or needs immediate medical attention.
Exactly. This information helps dispatchers prioritize calls, making sure that the most urgent cases get immediate attention. It's like having an extra set of ears and eyes, helping operators make faster and more informed decisions in those high-pressure situations.
That could literally save lives.
Absolutely. And these systems can also translate calls in real time, which is crucial for non-English speakers who need emergency assistance.
It's really incredible how AI is not just about streamlining communication, but also about breaking down barriers and making sure that everyone has access to the help they need.
It's a powerful example of how technology can be used to promote equity and accessibility, especially during times of crisis.
Okay, so AI is helping with communication during the initial response phase. But what about search and rescue efforts? It seems like a natural fit, given AI's ability to analyze data and make predictions.
You're right. AI is proving to be an invaluable tool in search and rescue operations, especially in those critical first few hours and days after a disaster.
What are some of the ways AI is being used in this area?
One exciting development is the use of drones equipped with AI-powered cameras. These drones can cover vast areas, much faster than human search teams, capturing high-resolution images, and even analyzing those images in real time to identify signs of survivors, or potential hazards.
It's like having a team of aerial scouts with superhuman vision scanning the landscape for any clues that could lead to finding missing persons.
And these AI systems are incredibly sophisticated. They can be trained to recognize specific objects or patterns, like the heat signature of a human body or the shape of a collapsed building.
That's amazing. So it's not just about replacing human rescuers, it's about augmenting their capabilities, giving them better tools and information to work with.
Exactly. And AI is making search and rescue efforts not just faster, but also safer. It can be used to identify dangerous areas, like unstable structures or areas with high levels of debris, allowing rescue teams to avoid unnecessary risks.
That's incredibly valuable in situations where every second counts. And the environment is constantly changing.
Absolutely. And AI is also playing a role in analyzing social media posts during search and rescue efforts.
That sounds interesting. How does that work?
Well, during a disaster, people often turn to social media to share information about their situation, request help, or report missing persons. AI algorithms can sift through those posts in real time, identifying keywords and phrases that indicate someone is in need of assistance.
It's like crowdsourcing information, but with an AI assistant helping to make sense of the massive influx of data.
That's a great way to put it. This can be particularly valuable in situations where traditional communication channels are disrupted or overwhelmed.
All right, so we've covered how AI is helping with communication and search and rescue. What about the recovery phase? How does AI help communities rebuild and become more resilient to future disasters?
Well, in the aftermath of a disaster, one of the first priorities is assessing the damage and figuring out where to focus rebuilding efforts.
I can imagine AI playing a big role there, especially with all the data that's available from drones and satellites.
You're right. AI can analyze those images to create detailed damage maps showing the extent of the destruction to buildings, infrastructure, and even entire neighborhoods. This helps authorities prioritize reconstruction efforts and allocate resources more efficiently.
So it's like creating a blueprint for recovery, guiding the rebuilding process with data-driven insights.
Exactly. And AI can go beyond just assessing damage. It can also be used to model different recovery scenarios, helping communities make informed decisions about how to rebuild in a way that's more resilient to future disasters.
That's fascinating. So it's not just about putting things back the way they were, but about using AI to design a better future.
Precisely. For example, AI can help us identify areas that are particularly vulnerable to certain types of hazards, and then suggest ways to mitigate those risks.
Like building seawalls to protect coastal communities from flooding, or designing buildings that can withstand stronger earthquakes.
Exactly. And AI can also be used to optimize the design and construction of new infrastructure, making sure that it's built to withstand the challenges of a changing climate.
So AI is about more than just responding to disasters. It's about understanding them, learning from them, and using that knowledge to build a safer and more resilient future.
Right. And it's not just about the physical infrastructure. AI can also help us design better early warning systems, improve communication networks, and develop more effective evacuation plans, all of which contribute to a more resilient society.
It's really incredible to see how AI is being applied across every aspect of disaster management. But I'm curious, what about those communities that might not have access to the latest technology or the resources to implement these AI-powered solutions? How do we ensure that everyone benefits from these advancements?
That's a critical question, and it's something that researchers and developers are actively working on. One approach is to develop AI systems that are more affordable and accessible, even for communities with limited resources.
That makes sense. And it's also about making sure that these systems are designed with the needs of diverse communities in mind.
Absolutely. We need to be mindful of potential biases in the data that's used to train AI algorithms and make sure that these systems are designed to be inclusive and equitable.
It sounds like there's a lot of work to be done, but also a lot of potential for AI to make a positive impact on communities around the world.
Absolutely. As the technology continues to advance, I believe we'll see even more creative and impactful applications of AI in disaster management, applications that will help us build a safer and more resilient future for everyone.
This has been a fascinating discussion, and I'm sure our listeners are eager to learn even more, but I think it's time for another break. When we come back, we'll wrap up our deep dive into AI and disaster management with a look at the future of this rapidly evolving field. Welcome back to Before AGI. We've been exploring how AI is changing the disaster management game. But before we wrap up, I'm curious about something we haven't really talked about. We've talked a lot about how organizations and governments are using AI, but what about everyday people? How is AI empowering communities to be more prepared and resilient?
That's a great question, and one that I'm really excited about. We tend to think of AI as being in the hands of big institutions, but there's a movement towards what we could call community-driven AI.
Community-driven AI. I like how that sounds. What does that actually look like?
Well, imagine a neighborhood that's prone to wildfires. With AI, they can set up a network of sensors to monitor weather conditions and analyze vegetation data. This data then feeds into an AI system that can actually predict the path of a fire.
So they're creating their own localized early warning system.
Exactly. And because it's based on hyperlocal data, it can be much more accurate and relevant than a more generalized system. They're in control of the data, the technology, and how it's used to protect their community.
That's pretty amazing. It's not just about relying on outside help. It's about communities taking ownership of their own safety.
Exactly. And it goes beyond just prediction. AI can also be used to improve communication and coordination within communities during a disaster.
How so?
Think about a platform where people can share real-time information about road closures, damage reports, or the availability of resources like food and shelter. It would be like a hyperlocal social network, specifically for disaster response.
Like Waze, but for navigating a disaster zone.
Yes. And because it's powered by AI, it can filter out misinformation and highlight the most critical information, ensuring that people are getting help as quickly as possible.
So AI is really becoming a tool for empowerment, giving communities the information and the means to take action.
It is. And this shift toward community-driven AI is something I think we'll see a lot more of in the future. As AI technologies become more accessible and affordable, we'll see more communities around the world leveraging them to build a safer and more resilient future.
It's really inspiring to think about how AI can not only help us respond to disasters, but fundamentally change how we prepare for them and recover from them.
I agree. It's a powerful reminder that technology can be a force for good, helping to create a more equitable and resilient world.
This entire conversation has been really eye-opening. It's clear that AI is already playing a crucial role in disaster management, and its impact is only going to grow in the years to come.
Absolutely. And for anyone who wants to learn more about how AI is being used to tackle these challenges, there are tons of resources available online.
Of course, we'll include links to some of the most interesting research and articles in our show notes.
And if you're ready to go deeper into the technical side of AI and learn how to build some of these amazing solutions yourself, I highly recommend checking out Ian Ochieng's YouTube channel, Ian Ochieng AI. He's got a ton of tutorials and insights that will help you get started on your AI journey.
Great advice. A fantastic resource for anyone who wants to understand not just how AI works, but how they can use it to make a difference in the world.
Well, thanks for having me on the show. It's been a pleasure talking with you about this important topic.
It's been a pleasure having you. And to our listeners, thanks for joining us for this deep dive into AI and disaster management. Be sure to subscribe to the Before AGI podcast for more fascinating explorations of how AI is shaping our world. Until next time.